So I typically start out with a song. So I'm just going to sing something real short and sweet for fun. And it's something that's been kind of in my heart because I've met so many amazing people lately, and they don't believe that they have greatness inside of them. And I'm not saying that they don't know that they have skills or that they don't know that they have great capabilities, but there's just something that's kind of holding them back. And it might be an old mindset from when they were a kid or when they were younger, but the reality of it is it's just that old mindset that just keeps coming back up and saying, who are you to do this? It's a lot of people call it imposter syndrome. So it's where you feel like you're an imposter, even though you have the capabilities, you still get that feeling. So the song just it says this one quick message. It's, is there no king in you? Then why do you speak with such low self-esteem? Is there no king in you? Then why do you speak with such defeat? So, anyways, there's a king inside of all of us. There's a king in you. There's a queen in you. You have greatness down inside of you. So that being said, I'm going to share with you guys about one marketing place that you probably haven't been tapping into as well as you could be. And I want to talk to you about the Law of 250. Now, if you haven't read this book, it's a really great book. It's called How to Sell Anything to Anybody. And so I do have a question for you tonight. And my question is, what is your niche? What is the industry that you work with? I want to know what your niche is. So drop that in the comments below. And again, the book is How to Sell Anything to Anybody by Joe Girard. This was actually written a really long time ago. I'm not going to look it up right now, but I've got a couple really cool points in here. So the Law of 250, it says, I'm just going to read this real quick. It says, let me explain to you what I call Girard's Law of 250. A short time after I got into this business, I went to a funeral home to pay my last respects to the dead mother of a friend of mine. At Catholic funeral homes, they give out mass cards with the name and picture of the departed. I've seen them for years, but I never thought about them until that day. One question came into my head. So I asked the undertaker, how do you know how many of these to print? He said, it's a matter of experience. You look in the book where people sign their names and you count. And after a while, you see that the average number of people who come is 250. So he talks again a little bit in the next paragraph about going to a wedding. And there were, on average, about 250 on the bride's side, 250 on the groom's side. And he said, I guess you can figure out what Girard's Law of 250 is, but I'll tell you anyway. Everyone knows 250 people in his or her life important enough to invite to a wedding or a funeral. 250. So that being said, I want you guys to think about on Facebook and how this applies online, because the average number of people that any person knows and that actively engages with them is around 250, even if they have 5,000 friends. Obviously, if they have 5,000 friends, they might have a little more engagement on their profile. But I mean, I know a lot of people who only have 500 friends on Facebook, and they still, on average, actively engage with about 250. So if you are just tuning in, I don't think I can tell on here. Oh, I can. Facebook updated it from the last time I went live on here. I can see that 2 people are watching. That's so cool. So if you're just tuning in, drop in the comments below what your niche is. So on average, people know 250 other people that they actively engage with. So that's the first point that I want to bring up as we're thinking about our Facebook tonight. So the second thing I want to point out is that if you don't tell anybody about what you're doing in your business, how are they ever going to know? So he talks about in a later chapter, he says you already have a long prospect list. And if we go back to the Law of 250 and we know that people on average engage with about 250 people that they would invite to a wedding or a funeral, then we know that anyone that we talk to and communicate with, that they know and they will tell and share about your business, about your advertising, about what you do. They'll talk about you. And so there's actually a really cool scripture. I base a lot of my learning on scripture, and the scripture says, how shall they believe in him who they have not heard? And how will they hear without a preacher? And so I want to bring up the point that if you are not telling people what you do, if you're not communicating about it, if you're not putting the word out there, how are they ever going to know? Which brings me to the one place that you're probably not using in the way that you could be, and that is your profile. And I saw Lori Lynn said that she's in publishing. So if you're just jumping on, drop what your niche is down in the comments below. Let me know what it is that you do and what your industry is. So the one place that you're probably not using to the best optimization that you could is your profile. And I have a few leading questions, guiding questions that are going to help with that. So the very first question is, what is your one offer or message? And is it 100% clear that that's what it is on your profile? And so some ways that people use this, Lori Lynn's a great example. If you ever hop over to her page and look, her background image has that there. But there are several other places that you could put it too. There's a little blurb right under your profile picture that you can put whatever you want right there. That's another place that you could put who you are and what you do. There's also the group images. You can choose up to 9, or you can just have one big image that you spotlight on your profile, that whenever somebody comes to your profile, they're able to see. You can use that as well. And that's another place where you can put that in there. If you have a link, you can drop a link in the comments of a photo. You could drop a link. You could put your website link on there, and that'll be up at the top of your Facebook. So those are the ways that you could use your Facebook. But let's talk about, if you're sharing about your business on your Facebook page, what happens with that? So the first question was, what is your one offer or message, and is it completely clear on your profile? The second question is, how often are you sharing about the message? And so the algorithms on Facebook, I've done a lot of studying on the algorithms, and the algorithms that they're currently using on Facebook, they rarely bring up old posts. So if you shared about something last week, it is very rare that that's going to pop up again in somebody's newsfeed. The only way that it would pop up is if people went and commented on it, or people went and liked it again, and it got another boost in the algorithm. But typically older posts don't get boosted. So if you shared about something last week, a lot of people might not see it, especially if they didn't come on during the time of day when it was really hot in the algorithm. If they didn't come on for one day and they missed it that day, then they don't see it the rest of the time, unless they're just searching for stuff on your profile, which is also a rare thing. Every once in a while people do, but it's pretty rare for your friends or people that you friended online to go search through your profile. That being said, third question is, how do you want new prospects or clients to think about you? So I asked this with somebody during a strategy session last month, and it kind of opened up a box for him, like a new way of thinking. He didn't really realize what he was portraying on his page. So everything was business, 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 business all the time. And he wanted people to know that he was a true person, that he was genuine, that he was honest. And so when I posed that question to him, I said, well, is your Facebook profile telling that to people? Is your Facebook profile really portraying who you want people to see about you? Because your authenticity, who you are as a person, it's part of your brand, part of your story with your products, with your business, with your offers, with your clients. All of that stuff is part of who you are. And so you don't want to isolate your family life and who you are as a person and what you do at home from your business altogether. People want to know that. They tend to like brands a lot better when they know that the person they're working with is a real, genuine, honest person of integrity. So that being said, how do you want new prospects or clients to think about you? And does your profile portray that? So I have a few statistics here that I want to share, and these are from last year, so they're a little bit older. I went to verify some of them, and I was like, oh dang, they have gone up. So I talked with another person this week, and we were talking about which platforms are best to use. And this person in particular was deciding between Facebook and LinkedIn. And so I've got a few different statistics here. So Facebook has now more than 2.6 billion users, which is incredible. And out of those users, Also, by the way, one of the statistics out there, all of the statistics, it talks about higher income bracket being 75,000 a year or more, which blew my mind, because why is 75,000 the higher income? You know, guys, I know that for a long time, I actually lived in poverty and I lived at a poverty level to where I could have easily qualified for government assistance for many, many years, a long time ago. And I understand that when you're in that moment, it feels like 75,000 a year might be a lot. And so if you're watching this and you don't make that much a year, don't feel bad. I'm just really surprised that it's not 200,000 or 300,000. Like that seems like a pretty common number. I was going to say commonality, but it seems like a pretty common number. But according to all of the statistics for every single platform, about 50,000 to 75,000 is the cap for higher income a year. So that being said, when it comes to people who are shopping online on Facebook, 72% of the online users have an income of 75,000 or more a year. And I want to talk about LinkedIn because that's what I was talking about with the other person earlier on this week. And so LinkedIn, let's compare users. So 2.2 billion on Facebook, on LinkedIn, 250 million. And on Facebook, there's 72% are above that 75,000 income bracket. And on LinkedIn, this one really shocked me, 44% of users are in that higher income bracket. Doesn't that kind of blow your mind that less than half of the income or of the users on LinkedIn, that their income is below that higher income line? Because LinkedIn is supposed to be all about business. So you expect like all these high level business owners and CEOs and corporate managers and directors and all this kind of stuff. That's what you expect LinkedIn to be based on the way that they portray it. But in reality, it's less than 50% that are actually above 75,000 a year or more. So when it comes to where you do your marketing, can you find some really great stuff on LinkedIn? Absolutely. Will you find more of it on Facebook? Absolutely. 100%. So I wanted to leave off that with our world, we live in a world of abundance. If there's more than 2.6 billion users on Facebook, there's no reason why you can't do really well on Facebook. And if you're just tuning in, you missed where I talked about the number one thing. So you'll have to go back and look at how to do that. If you are tuning in on the replay, make sure you put replay, #replay down below so I know you were here. And guys, if you're just tuning in, let me know what your niche is down in the comment. Lori Lynn earlier said she works in publishing. She also has a super awesome group that she helps run that they do video marketing, and their video marketing group is amazing. They helped me with my setup. So I wanted to bring up that we live in a world of abundance, and I wanted to share one of the groups, the Facebook groups that I'm in. I work in Facebook group optimization. I love studying the algorithms. I love learning how to get more people engaged. I love engaging with people. So in the largest group that I'm in that is actually active, there are more than 350,000 women, and it's very niched. It's all women entrepreneurs, which is great. It's a great group. It's really hard to get your voice heard in it, but it's a great group nonetheless. But that being said, when you go to the actual amount of users that there are on Facebook, that is less than 0.1%. I mean, just think about it. Doesn't that just blow your mind? It's less than 1/10, not less than 10%, less than 0.1% are in that group. So there is absolutely no reason with our world of abundance why, if you turn your brand into a movement, you couldn't also have a freaking amazing Facebook group, and why you couldn't also have more clients this month, why you couldn't have more customers this month, why you couldn't boost your business this month just by making a few tweaks to your profile. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you go back and watch the stuff that you missed. There's some really good tidbits in there. And if you haven't shared your niche, make sure you drop your niche down below. Does anyone have any questions? There's like this cool thing that I can do where I can add a question, and I've never done that before. So let me give you a minute. Do you have any questions? I actually have more statistics on here, so I can run through those real quick while I'm waiting to see if anyone has a question before I log off for the night. So let's look at Instagram. So Instagram has 1 billion users, still more than LinkedIn. And 51% of those are male, surprising to me. The 55% of people who use Instagram are between 18 to 29, but that doesn't mean that there aren't the other age groups. In fact, nope, it doesn't say it on this particular form, but there's lots of the other age groups on there as well. Just most of them are between 18 to 29 years old. 63% of users earn over 50,000 a year. So instead of the 75,000 income bracket, it's 50,000 for that one. And the ideal content that gets the most, obviously, on Instagram is going to be images and videos. So compared to Facebook, we have less than half of what Facebook has. And then the income bracket is a lot lower than Facebook's. So if you're just tuning in, earlier I talked about Facebook's statistics, and there are 2.2 billion users on Facebook, and 72% of those earn more than 75,000 a year, which is the cap of what they consider higher income bracket in all the statistics that I could find. And Twitter has 330 million users, still more than LinkedIn, which is really surprising to me. So Twitter has 330 million users, 53% of them are male, and 56% of users earn over 50,000 a year. And then we have YouTube, and YouTube is one of the other like super hot platforms out there. So YouTube has more than 1 billion users, and it's really funny. 62% of the users of YouTube are male. That seems really funny to me that it's so much higher than the amount of females that actually use YouTube. So with that, 46% of users on YouTube earn over 75,000 a year. Oh, I've got a kid coming. You are gonna get a special treat. We have Gabriel. Come here. Come here, baby. Say hi. Right there. See the camera? Say hi. So, yes, this is exciting. If you are in a similar situation to me, you should definitely put down below and empathize and sympathize with Cierra that while I'm trying to do my live late tonight, that I have children coming in here to help me. Yes, ma'am. Okay, you have to go to the other bathroom. Okay, thank you. So if you just tuned in, drop your niche down below. Say hi to my kids in the comments, and I will show it to them. They'll be so excited. I talked about, nobody asked a question, but I talked about statistics for Facebook. I talked about statistics for Instagram. I talked about Twitter. I talked about YouTube, and I brought up LinkedIn. There are 2 other platforms that I have on here, and one that I don't have on here yet is TikTok, but I do have for Pinterest. There are 200 million users on Pinterest. I know a lot of people that are getting into the Pinterest advertising world, and 57% of users on Pinterest, it doesn't talk about income statistics, but it talks about 57% of users have a 4-year college degree. So that talks about education level. And then on the last one is Snapchat. So on Snapchat, there's 200 million users on Snapchat, and 62% of users earn less than 50,000 a year. That's pretty significant. It's probably because it's all kids on Snapchat. But so if you're trying to target your market, if you know like a typical age group for your users, that's in the statistics here. If you know a typical income bracket for your target market, then that's in the statistics here. If you're looking to market, Facebook is going to be the absolute best platform that you can do your advertising, that you can share about your brand, that you can share about your company. And if you go back and listen to the training that I did tonight, you're going to realize how you want to marry your business with your personal life. People want to know that these business owners are real. They want to know that the brands are real. So I have other statistics here, and maybe I will share them again. Maybe I will share more statistics next week on Tuesday. So if you just tuned in, I love you. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are awesome. Y'all are amazing. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Let me know if there's something specific that you want me to talk about. The reason why I brought this topic up tonight is because I had someone specifically request for me to talk a little bit about engagement and how they could use it for, she asked specifically for her group. That's actually what I do. That's actually what I do for my clients. I help them with their group optimization and like increasing engagement, turning their brand into a movement, finding that hidden money, that treasure that's in their group. That's what I do. So I don't want to just give all of my knowledge away for free, but I definitely want to help you guys. I want to sow into your life. If you guys have questions about Facebook, algorithms, marketing, stuff like that, let me know. And maybe next week on Tuesday, I'll go live with your topic.